when the bolt carrier group is locked back, you have a much larger purchase right here, because this serves no purpose for a right-handed person really, but for a lefty, it's worth its weight in gold. Hello all, welcome to Tactical Safety. Today we're going to do a little compare and contrast two AR-15s. One of them happens to be mine, and the other one is one that I upgraded for somebody else. So starting off with mine, because you know I'm a lefty, so see how everything is configured on this. These are both equipped very similarly, but the stuff is configured the opposite direction but it's configured. This is configured for lefty, this is configured for right-handed person. Now, starting at the front. See, it's got the weapon light on it. The weapon light is always positioned so that your support hand, it's supposed to be positioned, it's optimal to have it positioned so that for your support hand, the switch is always so that your thumb naturally rests where the momentary switch is. Not the constant on switch, the momentary switch, because that's more important than the constant switch. So of course, where your thumb naturally rests, that's where you want to be able to hit that momentary. And your light, your switch is always on the side where your support hand is, and the light is going to be on the opposite side of it. And with this has a SIG Romeo 5 red dot, as well as a Vortex VMX 3T magnifier. So the magnifier, I always have to reverse mine right out of the box because it's configured for a right-handed person, so it's going to flip over to the left. But mine, I want to flip out to the right because on most of my ARs, on this one I have the Magpul M-Bus backup iron sights, and they're spring loaded, so they just come up like this in case your red dot were to break or it fails or if the battery goes dead for whatever reason. But can't really imagine a battery going bad in these because these are rated at 50,000 hours, which is about 6 years. So, and these have motion activated on, and then they turn off after a certain period of time of inactivity. So like I said, they're rated at a long time. The longest I've had one of these, the first one I bought was probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and it still works, still perfectly fine. I'll probably change the batteries before the 6-year mark, just so it doesn't run out on me, because then it'll probably be when I'm doing a night shoot or something like that, or at an event, and then that'll be when it dies out. So I'm gonna preemptively swap that out. So also moving on, my charger handles, this one has an Arrow Breach, which is an ambi charging handle. Also on all mine, I put a BAD lever, which stands for battery assist device, because when the bolt carrier group is locked back, you have a much larger purchase right here, because this serves no purpose for a right-handed person really, but for a lefty, it's worth its weight in gold. Also on mine, I use the Troy ambi mag release because CMMG makes them as well. I had those first before I knew about the Troy, but the CMMG, the ergonomics of it are just not there. It costs half the price of the Troy, but it ain't worth it. The Troy is about 60, 65 bucks, and the CMMG is like 25 to 30 bucks. But pay the extra money, get the Troy. It's 10 times better. And it's right where your forefinger naturally rests, so you don't even have to look to hit the mag release. So much easier like that. And then also on all my ARs, I always do ambi selector switch. When I upgrade ARs for people, I always suggest that they get ambi selector. It doesn't matter if you're right or left-handed, because with the selector, it's always easier to flip it to fire with your thumb and then flip it back to safety with your first finger. And you should be able to do that without even looking at it. It doesn't matter if you're right or left-handed. So even if you're right-handed, flip to fire with your thumb, back to safety with the forefinger. So much easier like that. And of course, you always want to have a vertical grip for an extra point of contact, because it's kind of awkward grabbing putting your hand on the hand guard right here, especially if you're doing a lot of shooting. So also on this one, you have a Hogue rubber grip. Upgrade from those hard plastic grips. Those are garbage. I don't recommend those for anyone. Now this one that I just upgraded, also the sling on this is it's a Magpul MS4 QDM sling, and same thing on this one. So we have a Magpul CTR stock. See the 5 or 6 positions. Excellent stock. Also, it has the QD socket on both sides of it. And another good thing about this stock is that there's a pretty good rubber pad on it, which is very comfortable. It's not going to slip off your clothes because of the soft rubber. This one. And I always say the importance of a sling. A lot of people don't get slings because they're like, oh, that's bulky. That's something extra to have. No, it's not something extra to have. Because I tell all my students, a sling to a long gun is what a holster is to a pistol. Simple as that. Because you're not going to carry a pistol around just tucked in your waistband. At least you shouldn't. I don't advise that at all. Same thing with a long gun. You always want to have a sling, because if you have to use this in a defensive situation, and then if the cops come up and you still have this, do you actually want to have a gun in your hand when the cops show up? You have a sling, put it around your back, and you got both hands visible. Sling is a must-have. Simple as that. Now, moving on to this AR right here. This is an older one, because you can tell by the quad rail. They still make a select few with the quad rail, but quad rail on the AR, it's like the equivalent of buying a CD. You're going to have to search high and low for it, and not many people carry them, because they're not quite obsolete, but they're headed that direction. So on this one, of course, we got the weapon light, but as you see, it's the opposite of mine, where the light is on the right side and the switch is on the left. Now this light, it's a model up from this one. This one has a strobe function, also has a high and low function as well. So like I said before, you always want to have it so your thumb can hit the momentary switch. It's more important to hit the momentary switch than the constant switch. And on this one, of course, we got a vertical grip, which is the Magpul RVG, which is the rail vertical grip. On this one, same optics as on this one. You got the Vortex VMX 3T magnifier along with the SIG Romeo 5 red dot. But on this one, it's configured so that the red dot, so that the magnifier flips out to the left, because this guy wanted offset iron sights, which is an excellent option. Also, I have those on my Springfield St. Victor. But of course, mine, it's on the left side. And the thing about offset iron sights, you got to practice with them, but they're a great backup tool. Like I said, in case your red dot were to fail for whatever reason, your offset irons, if you're doing a lot of shooting, especially if you're at like a tactical outdoor range, it gets tired in this position a lot. So with your offset iron sights, when you want to switch your position up and reduce fatigue, you just cant it to that 45-degree angle, and then it's almost like a resting position. You're not going to tire as fast, and it's good to switch your position and still shoot. And then you always want to familiarize yourself with your iron sights. You always want to practice with those too. You're not going to do as much shooting as with your red dot, but it's still good to practice. And like I said, when you get proficient is when you want to have your offset iron sights, but they're not for everybody. It's a personal preference. And then these are spring loaded, so you have to hit the button and it locks back in that position. These are UTG. That's the brand of these offset irons. And on this one, these are they're not offset. They're the regular backup irons. They're the Magpul M-Bus, which are very popular. Also on this one, the charging handle on this one, it's a Radiant Arms Raptor, which is an excellent charge handle. Radiant Arms and Arrow, this is the Arrow Breach. They're both about $95 to $100. They're both ambi select. They're both ambi charging handles which is what you always want to get. Doesn't matter if you're right or left-handed. You don't want that garbage with the lever on one side. Matter of fact, you don't want the kind with the lever on one side. This is the one that came with this one right here, but it's a great upgrade. Yeah, $100, but it's well worth it. You got much more purchase on it. You can go on from either side and pull the bolt carrier group back. It makes it so much easier, so much more effective, so much faster. And then also on this one, of course, we got the Magpul MS4 sling on this as well, and same optics as on mine. And let's see what else. The same pistol grip, which is the Magpul. Which is the Hogue rubber grip with the finger grooves. That's an excellent grip. I've been running those for over 20 years. This also has the CT4. This also has the CTR stock. And you look at this one, you see on this one, the handguard is only about maybe 8 inches or so, while this one has a full length handguard of like 14 inches. So a lot of your newer ones, yeah, you're gonna have the M-LOK so much smoother than the quad rail. Also, they take up a lot less space when you're putting them in bags. But I tell everyone, because a lot of people, they're like, wow, these accessories, like these upgrades, like $900 for these. No, that does not include the price of the weapon. The cost of your accessories, especially if you want quality stuff, it's always going to exceed the cost of the firearm. I tell everyone, consider the cost of the firearm the cost of admission when you go to a venue. You might pay $30 to get in, but I guarantee you're going to spend more than $30 on your food and drinks. If you're buying any souvenirs, that's going to far exceed the cost of admission. And it's no different with firearms. You want quality stuff, you're going to pay for it. You want cheap garbage stuff, yeah, you can find it, but it's not going to last. And then you're going to be the laughing stock when you go to the range. So I just wanted to do a little compare contrast with these ARs. And we have a class coming up next Saturday, which is May 10th. And then we're going to have another class May 17th as well as May 24th. So links for the classes will be in the description box. All you got to do is click on the link and sign up. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. You can always learn something at my classes. So remember to stay armed, stay vigilant, and stay tactical. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.